In an analysis of scientific data going back to the 1960s, the researchers found that marine biodiversity, the variety of ocean fish, shellfish, and microorganisms, has declined dramatically, with 29% of species already in collapse. Because there is little evidence to the contrary, there has been a common impression that marine species and ecosystems are generally in good shape. However, as more is learned, that impression is turning out to be widely misconceived. Fishing for the future.
Three-quarters of the world's fish stock are being harvested faster than they can be reproduced.
80% are already fully exploited or in decline.
And 90% of all large predatory fish, including tuna, shark, swordfish, cod, and halibut, are gone.
Listen to this, guys. Scientists predict that if current trends continue, the world food fisheries could collapse entirely by 2048.
We need to do further research on this. What actually happened in the past? What's being done now? And how's the future? We need to find answers. Answers to all of this. I say we begin. Now!
Now, first and foremost, what is sustainable fishing?
I can help you with that. Sustainable fishing is a fast and growing ideology that's being practiced in many parts of the world. It's the practice of harvesting at a sustainable rate where the fish population does not decline over time because of fishing practices. So if manufacturers, importers, and exporters are not educated on sustainable fishing fast enough to recover the situation, marine life will have faced too much damage for it to replenish itself to meet the needs of its consumers.
Now that we've cleared that, can we move on? Right. I've done my research and there are things being done about it at this point in time. Shangri-La Hotels and Resorts, they've actually launched a sustainable seafood policy in January 2012.
With our over 40 years in the hospitality industry, Shangri-La certainly recognizes and values traditions. Yet at the same time, we recognize the need to be responsible corporate citizens. As a company, our corporate social responsibility initiatives focus on the theme of sustainability. And unfortunately, the recent declines in many shark populations around the world that are attributable to the increased demand for shark fin products mean that shark fin soup can no longer be regarded as a sustainable option. As I said previously, we had a gradual phasing out of shark fin products between the end of 2010 and January 2012. So prior to the January 2012 cutoff date, we had some of the hotels come up with alternative dishes that we could offer on the menu in place of shark fin soup. So from those dishes that were submitted, we narrowed it down to a final list of 8. And these are all dishes that contain alternative soup ingredients, such as bamboo, fungus, lotus seeds, and sea rolls.
Sustainable seafood is a way to replenish our oceans. Exporters and importers can track the seafood from the ocean.
Based on publications or studies, they have indicated if a particular species is fully exploited, underexploited, or this tuna is overfished or something like that.
Besides that, anything else that have been implemented to curb this catastrophe?
The Marine Stewardship Council's Fisheries Certification Program and Seafood Eco-Label recognize and reward sustainable fishing. They are a global organization working with the fisheries, seafood companies, scientists, and conservation groups, and the public as well, to promote the best environmental choice in seafood.
MSC was formed because of the collapse of the cod banks fishery in Canada. So it was a massive fishery involving almost, I think, 200 fisheries in that region. And as a result of that, the cod species collapsed. And cod used to be a very readily available species, and all of a sudden it kind of got wiped off the face of this earth. So the MSC was born because of that incident. And since then, we've demonstrated that the program works, because if you look at cod stocks today, it's actually gone back to pre-crisis levels.
I love seafood. Many of us love seafood, right? Consumer demand for sustainable seafood can actually act as an incentive. So, if we buy seafood that comes from sustainable sources, we are helping to protect our marine environment. And concurrently, we can ensure that seafood can still be enjoyed many years ahead.
For the MSc program to work, you have to make sure that you align supply to demand, so that it is commercially viable for the retailers and for the independent restaurants, the food service restaurants, to make a living out of serving sustainable seafood, tucking into a dish of tuna or salmon sashimi, right? The first instance you should ask yourself is this plate of tuna, is it sustainable? And where is it from? Is it from a sustainable fishery? And if consumers like you and me ask these questions, then the retailers or the restaurant operators, they have no choice. They will then have to source wisely, and they have to start indicating on their menus and on their products where exactly are they sourcing their seafood from, and then that becomes an entire chain. So once consumers start asking questions, then the restaurant owners will have to do something about it, and then they will then have to buy from sustainable sources, and then the fisheries will benefit because they will then get the necessary demand to invest back into the fisheries to try and get more products out into the marketplace. So this is in essence the mechanism, or what we call the theory of change in MSc.
The depletion of fisheries poses a major threat to the food supply of millions of people. What is there to be done?
One way is to use the Singapore Seafood Guide when buying fresh food from the markets or supermarket and when dining out.
Another is to limit your purchases to only sustainable food or seafood that comes from sustainable sources. Now, most commonly and conveniently practiced among the general public is to buy what you can eat and not waste food.
I think we're done for the day. Sushi, anyone?
The sustainable seafood movement is gaining momentum as more people become aware about both overfishing and environmentally destructive fishing methods. We are in the midst of a fish revolution.